CBS is back with their brand new summer show. It feels a bit like Indiana Jones, or maybe it feels more like Da Vinci Code, or maybe it feels like any other kind of generic summer action thriller. It feels like a lot of things and also not like a lot of things, and Linda and I will be getting all into it right after this. Guys, this is TV Pilot Reviews.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Gosh, this music, every time.
Yeah.
It just gets me, and I produce here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TV Pilot Reviews here on AfterBuzz TV. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the show where Linda Antwi and I, and maybe other people.
Maybe. I think we scared them last week.
We must have scared them last week. Do our best to bring you our hot takes on TV's newest pilots. Last night, that being May 21st, 2019, CBS aired their new cash cow, or hopeful cash cow, Blood and Treasure, which I think they're hoping is going to capture the attention and affection of, of American
Summer
television.
fans,
Summer
yes.
fans is the way to put it. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if Linda and I feel like it will, but we're going to give you our overall thoughts in just a minute. Just to give you guys a quick rundown of what the show will look like. We will be giving you our spoiler-free take on the show first, letting you know whether we're a pass or play, letting you know some other shows that this is like, and going over some of the characters. Then we will transition into a spoiler section.
Yes.
We will drop the spoiler alert and actually change the color of our studio so that you know. Because we're very fancy. And we didn't even introduce ourselves. My name is Jeff Graham. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a TV obsessee, and I guess I could call myself a critic. And Linda.
I'm Linda Antwi, and I am a TV obsessee as well, and a fan of all great shows.
I don't know what that means, but I think I might know what that means. Okay, Linda, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor to give me your overall thoughts on Blood and Treasure, and then I'll hop in and let you know what I thought.
So my overall thoughts was, wow, it was done very big. And they kind of just jumped right in, and my overall thoughts were, what is happening right now?
I know what you mean.
And I felt that way the entire way through.
Yeah, the show kind of feels like it was about everything, but also about nothing.
That's just saying the whole time.
Every scene, who's this guy? Why is this guy in a trunk? Why do they have a flash drive?
Right, and why are you overacting everything? And why does that flash drive do everything?
Right.
Like, just have the flash drive do everything then.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm not going to fault the actors here because I think the issue is the writing. I hate to say it. It just feels like this is one of those shows where nothing's quite working. I hate to say that. I don't want to be a hater because I actually came in wanting to like this show. You saw my coverage for Whiskey Cavalier. I thought the show was kind of dumb, but I also loved it. I thought it was a fun pilot. It was silly and joy-filled. It had so much joy. There's no joy in this show.
I'm on the Whiskey Cavalier panel, and I love the show. I think it's hilarious. This is not that.
Yeah, there's just such a soulless, by-the-numbers, rote, just kind of going through the motions feel to this show.
Yeah.
And when you're watching a show like this, we all know it doesn't really matter what it's about, right? An episode of Whiskey Cavalier, the case isn't really what matters, right? It's the banter between Scott Foley and it's kind of funny and filled with joy. There's just no joy in this show. Yeah. So I didn't love it.
Yeah. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
This is going to be a hard pass for me.
It's a pass for me too. And you know what? I hate to say it, but I have trouble recommending the show.
I can't recommend it
to people. Even if you love a popcorn thriller, I don't think this show is doing it right. I think I'm here for people who love a guilty pleasure, escapist network drama, like a show like Timeless, which was really fun. I just don't know if there's much to really glob onto for this. I will say everyone is very attractive.
Everyone is very attractive, definitely. But even then, the cast, I don't maybe it needs it gave us 2 hours, so.
It sure did.
Maybe it needs another hour to kind of find its feet.
I already feel like, though, it's a lot to ask me to watch 2 hours of a network drama to get into a show. The idea of having 3, I hear what you're saying, but woof.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do that.
I think it's important to draw in your audience, especially in a pilot. In that pilot, it's got to be clean. It's got to be understandable. Mm-hmm. You have to care about the characters. And unfortunately for me, I didn't care about any of these characters. And I felt that they weren't thinking their audience was smart enough to follow whatever it is that they were doing. Instead, everything was like shoved down my throat. Like all the flashbacks back and
so
forth.
many flashbacks.
And the flashbacks, like, who cares? Like,
know.
what do I care about this for? It didn't make sense to the story, in my opinion. And then we didn't get to know Lexi's name until halfway through, and that irritated me. They just kept referring to her as, I need her, I need her. Who do you need?
Especially when it's the female.
Yes.
Get me hot one.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of, I especially because they referred to him as a full name. It was always Danny McNamara, get over here.
The whole time. I had his name down in the first 10 seconds.
Hot dress girl, I need you. Yeah, I hate to say it, but they were kind of over-explanatory.
Yep.
But also, I didn't really know what was going on.
No, because there was nothing going on.
Yeah, but
So
also everything going on.
But also everything going on. True.
Yeah.
Like, who are you hunting? You're hunting for her first.
Yeah.
And then you're hunting for the doctor. And then this random big bad is all of a sudden you're like, what's the show about? What is it about?
It's a good question.
Is it about finding the antiquities, or is it about finding the terrorist? Is there a terrorist?
I think they're sort of using the antiquities as a way to both discover and leverage their ability to find the terrorist. I think the terrorist is using the antiquities to fund the terror. I think.
Okay.
But boy, it kind of was. This is going to sound pretentious, but part of our job on this show is to kind of be critics and let you know what we think, and we're just going to do that. And if you guys love Blood and Treasure, I'm sorry. I wish there was someone here that could see you and loved it as well.
Or tell us.
Or tell us. That's exactly. We have the comments down below. And I'm going to tell you guys more about how to get into our network in a minute if you disagree, because we want to include you in the conversation. Fortunately, Linda and I didn't really like it. We've got to be honest here. But what I was going to say was that I felt like I was almost both below this show and above this show at the same time. Like, I just couldn't exactly tell who was going to really like this show.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I unfortunately felt very similar. I felt like I was wasting a couple hours of my time, but I kept wanting it to get better.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, it's entertaining. If
Right.
you want some mindless, like, back TV while you're doing some other stuff, multitasking, whatever, this could be it. Because you could go in and out of the show and not miss anything.
You know what's tough, though? I want to agree because I want to say something positive.
Yeah.
But I feel that way a little bit about Whiskey Cavalier because the characters are so affectionate that you can pop out and then you get a funny scene between them. I feel like you can't really pop out of this show and come back in because you'll be just as stumped as you would have if you were watching it.
But not stumped in a way like this is hard to follow. It's more like stumped, like this is really about nothing. It's about nothing. So,
I guess. If you want attractive people on your screen,
for sure.
check this out. They're hot.
Yeah.
All of these people
Yeah.
are very hot. I
Yeah.
will say that.
Let's talk about the characters.
Let's talk about them while we're at it.
Yeah.
I think we should start with Matt Barr, Danny McNamara.
Yep.
There he is.
Yeah, you know him from Sleepy Hollow and The Layover, and very handsome man.
Yeah, he just looks like a TV film actor, right?
Yeah.
But I will say what's kind of funny about it, this is going to sound shady again, but don't all these actors kind of look like, if you can't get Brad Pitt, you can get this guy.
Yeah.
Or like, if you can't get Sofia Vergara, you can get this girl.
Yeah.
Which is perfect because it's like, if you don't have time to watch The Da Vinci Code or Indiana Jones or something better, you can watch this show.
There you go. You said something nice.
Yeah, but it's almost like these actors are perfect stand-ins. Like, these are the B-plus versions of talent we actually care about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shady thing to say. And this is the B-plus version of stuff we actually care about. Man, I'm being a hater today. I'm sorry, guys. Let's keep going. Linda, take the reins.
Next up, we have Sophia Pernas. She plays Lexi. You know her from NCIS, Age of Dragons, and Jane the Virgin. Also gorgeous.
Yeah.
Then we have Katia Winter, who plays Gwen, the FBI agent. She is known from The Catch, from Dexter, and DC Legends of Tomorrow. Then we have Antonio Cupo, who's Captain Bruno, and we know him from Bomb Girls, Muse, Girlfriends, Guide to Divorce. He's handsome too. And then we have Michael James Shaw, who plays Aiden Shaw, which is funny to me. You know him from Avengers, Limitless, Constantine, Bull, Blue Bloods. He's been working a lot, actually. I've been seeing him a lot out there recently. Then we have Tony Nash, who plays Omar, and he's from Suits and Good Witch. Then we have James Callis. He plays Simon Hardwick. and you know him from Bridget Jones and Battlestar Galactica. Look at that photo. It's fancy. And then last but not least, Alicia Coppola. And she plays Dr. Anya Castillo, and you know her from Another World, and Jericho, The Rookie, NCIS LA, Shameless. She stays working.
You know what? With a last name like Coppola, I don't even care if you're related. You're going to work.
Yeah, she stays working.
Okay. In case you guys didn't realize, we are showing photos of these actors. So if you're listening to our podcast, we encourage you guys to check out our YouTube if you want to get a second look. And speaking of our YouTube, we would love to engage with you guys, and I'm going to let Linda share a little message with our wonderful fans.
Guys, we love doing what we're doing here, and we just want to thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. But in order to continue to grow, we're going to need your help. We're not asking for much. We just want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube pages, and it will suggest other great shows, and it's not too annoying at all, actually. It actually really gets you once you start to get into it and you start to subscribe to the ones you like. Give us a rating on iTunes, 5 stars, because that helps other people find us and share the love, and that's what life is about.
Absolutely.
And on YouTube, leave a comment. We love interacting with you guys. You might not like our opinions specifically on this show, so talk to us. Tell us why you think this show is great, why you don't think it's great, and let's have a discussion. So thank you for supporting us in what we do, and we love you guys.
We do, and I know we're being a little not as positive as we sometimes are with pilots, but that's kind of the point of this show. But the reason I say that is because, as we mentioned, we love for you guys to join the conversation, because it's very important to me that a range of perspectives are represented on this stuff, because I'm genuinely curious about someone who supports this show, and I'm always looking for a hot take on this stuff. So
absolutely.
If you enjoyed the show, please let me know, and if you end up catching episode 3 and the show turns around for you, I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
We always spend a little bit of time on development. With network stuff, there's always a little less, I think, to talk about than with cable and premium and streaming. But one very interesting connection is that Mark Webb, who executive produced and directed the pilot to the show we covered last week, is also an EP on this show.
Yeah. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, 500 Days of Summer, Gifted. So I don't know. I don't know.
But can I just say, what a weird show for Mark Webb to be an EP on?
Yep.
Like, if you look at his other stuff, it feels like it has such stylistic distinctiveness. He broke in with 500 Days of Summer. He's directed shows of The Office. He directed the pilot to the Limitless TV series, which I know is also CBS Network. But that show got pretty decent reviews. I think people thought it had kind of a unique take. The Society, which we covered last week, had a pretty, I think, at least stylistic pilot.
I loved it.
This is just such a strange show for him to EP because it has nothing to really. I wonder what appealed to him about this.
But didn't you say earlier that he inked an overall deal with CBS?
CBS, yeah. I just, in my impression, and granted, TV dev varies so much from show to show, but typically, if he, has inked an overall deal, he's bringing scripts and pitching based on what he's reading or getting pitched himself, and it just feels weird for him to read this pilot and really get behind this. I wonder why.
So maybe it's not just the writing. Maybe it's also the directing and the acting. I don't know, because there was a lot going on, and I felt like there was not one direction it was going.
Right.
Why are we getting into spoilers a little bit?
Well, I want to hop back in this conversation. What we'll quickly do before we get into spoilers is the last thing we'll do before our spoiler section is kind of letting you know what shows remind us of this show. So if you hear a bunch of shows you're liking, it might be worth checking out. Then we'll get into some acting and directing specifics in our spoiler zone. Linda, what do you got for me?
I think it's like a little bit like Whiskey Cavalier.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I know.
It's like nothing you've ever seen.
I kind of got like Timeless vibes.
Did you?
A little bit, because it's that same historically based adventure heroism. But again, Timeless was kind of goofy and self-aware, as is Whiskey Cavalier.
Yes. What is this?
It is, I hate to say it, it's Indiana Jones, it's Da Vinci Code with all of the life and joy sucked right out of it, is what I hate to say. I know. Thank you, Ryan. I think we deserve that.
For real.
So that's, if you really, really like archaeologically based adventure stories, this might be worth checking out. I just would have to warn you that I don't feel like there's much beyond the sights.
Yeah.
There's
And I
a
don't
lot
know-
of music. It was very heavily scored. Too much, I
Heavily
thought.
scored. The flashbacks were like random in my opinion, and didn't aid in the storyline and moving it along.
I agree. You know what? Let's get into our spoiler section at this point, and we'll talk about the flashbacks
Okay.
if that works.
Okay.
Spoiler alert!
All right. So from here on
Spoiler
out,
alert.
you've heard our overall thoughts on the show.
Spoiler alert.
Linda, let's talk about these
Spoiler
flashbacks.
alert.
Okay.
This is when you can really go in. You don't feel like they're aiding in the story, you were saying.
At all. I don't think that they were aiding in the story. I think they were trying to build a backstory between the two main characters.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, in my opinion, the way they were doing the flashbacks, I didn't care. I was like, what does this have to do with anything? You have me in 2019, and all of a sudden I'm in 1942, which has nothing to do with the two main characters. Then I'm in 2016. Then I'm back to 2019. And okay, I get it. You can build with flashbacks, but your whole episode can't be flashbacks because you don't want to build the story. You're being lazy, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
So
And I think the flashbacks could have worked, but I think they have to hinge on this question. Who are these people?
yeah.
Linda, who is Danny McNamara?
And that was the other thing. So you're trying to tell me Danny is an FBI agent turned international lawyer who works from home, who has friends all across the world that are completely like interconnected and rich and powerful
And hot.
And yet you're working pro bono? Okay, wait, what? What?
But
That
Linda,
makes no sense.
Did you see how hot his friends were, though?
Yeah,
Linda?
they were all hot.
Everyone is so hot in this show. I will keep saying, such an attractive. Everyone on screen, I was like, whoa!
Yeah, it was. It was
I will-
something.
But even with the hotness, it's not a very sexy show.
It's not at all.
I was ready for some kind of chemistry between these actors, something.
None of them had
Just watch
it.
the show on mute. This is the issue. I couldn't figure out who Danny was, and if we're going to compare it to Whiskey Cavalier, which makes sense not only because you're a super fan of that show, but because it's ABC's version of a sexy globe-trotting adventure show.
Mm-hmm.
What's the very first scene we see in Whiskey Cavalier?
I believe we see Scott Foley
Yeah.
in his apartment. Mm-hmm.
And what's he doing?
He's like crying over
Yes.
his breakup.
He's weeping over a breakup. Immediately, we're given something about this character.
Yeah.
And it's something self deprecating and likable and kind of silly and character defining. The first time we see Matt Barr, he's like talking about art and looking hot in a suit. And like, that's the only thing I learned is that he likes art, I guess.
It had nothing to do with anything.
Right.
So who is your client and why should I care about this art? And then some random guy throw out, oh, I'll just pay for it, millions of dollars. Come with me on my helicopter to my private jet. Like, what?
Yeah, it would have been really interesting. I think when you're introducing characters in a pilot, it's nice to put them in some kind of either perilous situation or embarrassing situation or some kind of crucible for them to develop traits.
Yes.
I just feel like when characters were introduced in this show, they weren't put in any kind of compartment for them to be challenged
That's
or
it.
pushed or developed.
That's it.
So they're all just people who are saying things, walking
That's
around.
exactly what it felt like. People that were saying things at each other.
But how hot were they, Linda?
They're hot,
Just gonna keep pushing, very attractive.
but they're all hot. So you kind of lose it after.
I agree.
You lose the hotness because you just expect it. So
And you need one Uggo to make everyone else look even more attractive. Everyone's
do.
attractive. I don't believe these people.
right.
It's like the uncanny valley of hotness where it's like, I'm suspicious of you. But, I think they talk about that on 30 Rock. It's, if you're overly attractive, people don't tell you the truth just because they're so, like, charmed by the way you look. I would not know what that life is like.
And like when he was carrying her dad's prayer beads and he just randomly pulled it out of his pocket, I rolled my eyes like all the way back in my head.
That scene was tough for me because I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like a flashback for me to at least be given something. But then it was so melodramatic. And she was like, no, why did you do this? And at this point, I was like, this isn't the show I want to watch.
When did he ever, and when did they establish that besides that one time the dad found out about their relationship, that he gave them those beads? Why do I care about those beads?
I know.
Because they're prayer beads? And you said the dad gave it here? And she's like, oh no, you can keep them. Okay. So you wasted like 5 minutes of my time because you both don't care about these, obviously. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
there
that
were
was tough. It was tough for me.
But there were so many scenes like that I just was like, what is happening?
And to be given a 2-hour pilot and know so little leaving.
And like she was supposed to be the criminal.
I wanted an exploding tampon, Linda.
I mean, I'm surprised she didn't have one.
I know. Something. A thing. Rather than just a doohickey.
She had a flash drive.
The flash drive.
The flash drive that just did everything.
Yeah.
It has GPS, really?
In fairness, there's another movie with a flash drive that does everything. That's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's a great movie. That's the worst thing about the movie is the all-knowing flash drive, and it's still a great movie. So it can work if in the right context. It just wasn't really working here. Okay, let's talk about some things we liked.
Okay.
I thought it was cool that we were globe-trotting. That added some energy into the show. I liked that we started in Egypt.
Okay.
What did you think?
I thought that it was not believable.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in Egypt. I wrote down Egypt, then New York City, then you were in Monte Carlo, then you were in Paris, then you went back to Rome. Then you went to Geneva. Like, no. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, they were really...
You're globetrotting for what? Like, what does all... That's great.
Right.
You're right. That's great. Because I love travel and I love...
On location.
Yeah, all of that. But how does that build to this story? Like,
You're right.
What if you were looking for the doctor and you know the doctor was in Egypt? Why do I care about Monte Carlo and Rome and Geneva? Why do I care about those things?
It's a great point.
Because that's not where she is.
Exactly. And if you're going to include a location, it doesn't matter if it doesn't drive story.
Doesn't drive the story. I had a bunch of like standalones that didn't make sense to me.
At the root of good TV is good storytelling. And like, it doesn't matter how much money or sexy people you're putting in the show, you have to have an engine.
Yes.
And I fear, at least in the pilot, which note, we review pilots. That's what the show does. I forgot to say that off the top. We're not an after show. We're a pilot review show. If you don't have that in the pilot, it's just tough, you know?
And then when she said the same $400 shirt joke twice in the pilot, I was like,
I didn't mind that. That was actually one moment where I was like, oh, a callback. A thing for me. It was, at least for me, Linda, it was something that felt inspired by something. You know, I was like, okay, it's a callback. It's referencing something. It shows that there's at least some artfulness to what's being done here. So that kind of was at least like piqued my
And then when he changed the suit, and it looked like the exact same suit, and he kept going like this, so he could. We all knew that. Ooh, this is a new suit.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I'm pulling down my sleeves because it makes no sense. It's like acting 101.
It's so, you know, and they could have had a flirty scene there. Like, it could have been like the suit was a little tight. And she's like, oh, I guess my ex-boyfriend had a better body than you did. Or like, he walks in like embarrassing clothes and she's like, we got to make you look better. Like, give it some life, people.
Something.
Yeah.
Make it fluid so that it means something. You're not just doing it.
Yeah. I wish we had more positive to say about the show. Do you have anything else that you really want to hit in terms of spoiler-oriented coverage and our thoughts on the show?
No.
I gotta say, too, if you're doing an art stealing show, I think you start with, like, the Mona Lisa. I feel like the general public is more interested. I'm not sure an Egyptian sarcophagus is a great way to get us into the world of art dealing.
But
I guess it's antiques, though, isn't it?
It's antiques. And even if you're going to do that, then you know what? Go ahead and tell the backstory of Cleopatra and Antony. Because I know the Cleopatra story, but I didn't actually really know anything about this Antony and them. Why is it important that they're together? Establish that if you're going to have antiquities as the backstory.
That's a really good point.
Of this whole thing. Why do I care about this? And if I don't care, why should I care? Because I don't know about it. So tell me about it.
You're sorry. That's what Indiana Jones does that so brilliantly, right?
Yes.
He's a professor. So like, he's passionate about this. He's a nerd. And it gives you the opportunity for the audience to learn something.
Exactly.
Is this a mindless summer show, or do I need to know all this stuff about history? Which is it? You know?
What is it? That's my... What are you guys going for?
Yeah.
What is the show about? I mean, even if we look at the preview pictures, it's shot like Indiana Jones.
I know.
You know, and that to me is saying, okay, it is about the history. It's about the antiquities. So make it about that. And then be funny.
Right.
Don't just be like, oh, they're hot, so people will watch them.
Right. They probably will, though. Okay. I don't have too much more to say about this show.
Excuse me.
Bless you. But we do have a couple other segments. Linda, any other spoiler thoughts on the show? Anything else that really piqued your interest or invoked some kind of passionate reaction in you?
Well, The writer, one of the writers, Matthew Furterman, is from Limitless,
Interesting. Okay.
Charlie's Angels, Jericho, and that 80s show, I think it's 80s, Judging Amy. So this person has been in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
He's also the creator.
Yeah, he's been doing stuff. I'm sure that's how Mark Webb kind of met him, was through Limitless. But I don't know. I always want the best for a show. You know, like, I feel like I sound like a hater, but I would love for the show to get better. I would love for it to find an audience, and I would love for these people to continue working. I think there's a lot here that could be great. We just didn't really get it in the pilot. And
it was a long pilot.
It was a long pilot.
That
You know,
a lot of time.
and it's tough because if you spend 2 hours on something you dislike, you start to build that resentment.
Yeah.
At least for me. Okay. The last thing we do before we make our way out, guys, is we're going to give you our rating on the pilot.
Yeah. And we rate 0 to 5.
0 to 5. Thank you.
And I'm going to give this a 1.
I'm going to give it a 2 because I think it was well shot and actually pretty well edited. Maybe overscored, but at least it was an evocative score.
Okay.
So those things are going to make me give it a 2.
Okay.
And it had good continuity.
Okay.
And good lighting.
Did it though?
Was there some? I did hear some ADR.
Oh goodness! I was like,
There was a couple inserts where I was like, when was that shot?
Exactly.
Well, that was our coverage of Blood and Treasure. And if you guys love the show, I'm sorry you had to sit through us maybe not being as on board as you are. But we encourage you and empower you to get in those comments because Linda and I will get in there. We'd love to start a conversation.
And you know what? It might just be Jeff and I because I know that we are doing an after show for this show. And so there are fans, and maybe you're one of them. So tell us what we missed.
Yes.
So that we can be enlightened and have a conversation.
Please do. And candidly, right now, we're still working on the after show.
Oh, okay.
We had it, and then it's all good, but we're working on getting that for you. But if you loved it, please comment down below. It means a lot to our producers, me included, and we will do everything we can to get you guys this after show. So the beauty of this network is if our take wasn't the take you wanted, there's another one hopefully coming down the pike. If you want it, let us know. For example, we're launching the Society after show because a lot of you guys hopped in the comments last week saying you wanted it. So we listen, we hear you, and we see you.
I love it.
With that, I say we make our way out of here, Linda.
Let's do it. Guys, you can find me all across social media at Linda So Girly.
And Linda, are you showless right now? All your stuff wrapped.
No, I have Whiskey Cavalier tonight.
Oh, that's still
it's
going.
The final. And guys, I have 90 Day Fiancé, and I'm all 90 Day Fiancé out. All of it. What Now, Happily Ever After, Pillow Talk, all of it. Come join us. We shoot on Monday. Oh, today. Today. Yeah, today.
Linda, people who watch that show say it is the best thing on TV.
It's the best thing on TV.
I need to watch. I watched The Bachelorette, so I support guilty pleasure TV watching.
That's it for me.
Oh boy, I think I might be sold. And guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to find me online, you do that at Jeffrey C. Graham. As I just mentioned, I do our Here I Am being too pretentious for this show, and I'm like, but catch me on The Bachelorette Mondays at 7 p.m. It is, I will say, The Bachelorette. Say what you will about it, but it's great TV. You can watch me saying my thoughts about that show at 7 p.m. on Mondays. And you can tune into our show weekly, TV Pilot Reviews. That's Wednesdays at 5 p.m., where we will give you our hot takes on everything new in Hollywood. And until then, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.